And this is the job he ended up with. Caulk that is about an inch wide, a poor paint job, and windows that don't fit their openings. What comes in has to go out, and this is what we're concerned about. Papa John's passed out these flyers. People came to this location and gave donations, but Steve McConnell says he hasn't seen a dime. What would you tell people like the Artmans who gave you $9,000 and got nothing from it?
They're getting some money back.
Now Kit Bowermaster has been left with a door to nowhere. Those trucks leave behind a massive mess. You can still see the tire tracks littered here in the parking lot.
If your kids play sports, you need to look out for symptoms, especially if they've had more than one head injury. I mean, let's be honest, teenagers, they're not going to be the first one to raise their hand and say, okay, I'm hurt and I'm coming off the field. They can be a little stubborn at times. I was one of them.
So what went wrong? We finally tracked Michael Fisher down to ask him ourselves.
I've literally almost lost everything.
Thank you.
Make it easier to climb.
Things no one has ever said to me. Here's a hatchet, just in case.
The CBS 4 problem solvers are getting results. A $13,000 water bill taken care of after 15 pipes burst in this house and flooded the entire first floor.
We walked in and we heard the water first. And it was like, what is that?
Jimmy and Cassie Diamond were newlyweds when they bought their first piece of property along North Graceland Avenue. They were eventually going to renovate the house and then either rent it or resell it.
We had never turned the water on, but we did make sure it was properly winterized.
The couple let the house sit for the winter. They went back last spring, but they barely made it in the door.
It wouldn't budge because it was so swollen. We had to force it open.
Instead of a warm welcome home, it was a wet one.
From about here over to here, there was a sheet of water coming down, like the Rainforest Cafe, like a waterfall pouring out of the ceiling.
15 pipes had frozen, expanded, and broken.
You gotta be kidding me.
Inside, mold and mushrooms already in full bloom.
Mushrooms growing on the ceiling that looked like ears.
The walls, you could already see the paint, like the water coming through the paint and kind of lifting that already.
That was one problem. The next came via mail, a water bill saying the Diamonds owed almost 13 grand.
We can't pay $13,000 that we shouldn't owe in the first place. We had never turned on service with them, so there was no existing account.
The CBS 4 problem solvers got to work, citizens taking a few days to investigate, but finally sending us a statement saying, quote, the bill will be canceled consistent with an adjustment for a hidden leak. For better or for worse,
it's a huge stress that we did not need during our first year of marriage.
These newlyweds will now shift their focus. They'll have to dig up an extra $40,000 to finish what they started.
Sad too, because that house had some really beautiful antique registers that were rusted and they were ruined. If you're in the same boat, if you have a problem, big or small, call or email the CBS 4 problem solvers. That information is right there on your screen. You can also find it online at cbs4indy.com.
They always say one person's trash is another's treasure, but it couldn't be truer than this case right here.
On a whim, yeah.
David, who doesn't want to be identified, was on eBay one night when he searched Purple Hearts, a prestigious medal given to service members that are wounded while in combat or killed in the line of duty.
And this one was the first one that popped up.
This one belonged to Sergeant Lloyd Moore.
He was in the tank battalion, and the really stood out to me was the armored flamethrower. Outside of being a field radio operator, that was the second most deadliest job.
Sergeant Moore died during the Battle of Okinawa.
This medal, the Purple Heart, was given to somebody who died, protecting our freedoms, and to see it auctioned off on eBay, it's like his life, and his life is being auctioned on eBay.
So David, being a veteran himself, bought it.
It's crazy, right?
And he started researching. He found Sergeant Moore's obituary, and listed there were possible family members. David doesn't do social media, so he turned to the CBS 4 problem solvers instead.
So I reached out to you all, and amazing, rest is history, right? Amazingly, I was surprised with how quickly you were able to make connections.
Yep. Within hours.
I thought, wow, that was fast.
Hello.
We tracked down Sergeant Moore's daughter, Janae Patterson.
We got all of my dad's personal items when I was about, I think, probably in the second grade. This box came and it had his helmet and his underwear and just bizarre things. And it had a couple of medals in there. Neither one was a Purple Heart.
Overwhelmed,
That is an amazing story
but grateful,
that you went to all this trouble to find us.
David overnighted that Purple Heart. From Hawaii to England to Indiana, now Florida, today it is back home where it truly belongs.
It's good. Yeah. It's just good.
AngelaJBrauer, CBS 4 News. There are two things you'll notice most about 6-year-old AngelaJBrauer. Number one, she's a girl of few words.
Tell me, how'd you get your doll?
Ask her anything. She just giggles. The second thing,
This is Leah, L-I-A.
she has a twin. Kind of. That she never leaves home without.
How much do you love her? Do you love her a whole lot? Yeah.
Lydia was diagnosed with leukemia in April 2018.
B-cell ALL.
She started treatment right away. The family, though, wasn't so scared of that as they were of some of the side effects. One in particular, little Lydia did not want to lose her hair.
Lydia had never had a haircut in her life. She was afraid if she got her hair cut, she would look like her dad, who's military.
A scary time, but one doll helped the family cope.
Who sent Leah to you?
My fairy godmother.
This American Girl doll, one like so many of you have out there at home, named Leah.
When she saw the doll, when she opened it up, she said, "Mom, she looks just like me."
That's like me.
On the day of our interview, Lydia and Leah showed up in matching outfits, both wearing the port they need for treatment. Leah with her handmade welded IV cart with bags like Lydia once had, and braces like Lydia needs in order to walk.
For Lydia, our biggest side effect has been that it has ruined the reflexes in her legs. It's taken away her muscle mass in her legs.
And watch here as this child does something truly profound.
She turned her feet in on purpose.
Leah has not only been kind of this security blanket for Lydia, but her own doctors admit an educational tool to help her process everything that's going on.
We're gonna give her chemo today, okay, Lydia?
The doctors and nurses at Riley doing the same procedures on Leah that they have to do on Lydia.
It helps her to sort of normalize and have a friend of sorts who's going through the same things with her.
This ball of energy, this cup of positivity.
Tilt your head towards me.
Now nearing the end of her chemotherapy and receiving one more surprise before it's all over. A new American Girl doll.
Do you wanna go get your new doll?
This one also looking a lot like Lydia, but now with short blonde hair.
What'd you say when you saw her? Mom, Leah was me before, and this doll is me now.
In Indianapolis, AngelaJBrauer, CBS 4 News.